all the miserable, hellish conditions, and having passed in a regular order through the lowest forms of animal life prior to human birth, and having thus been purged off his sins, one is born again as a human being on this earth purport. Just as a prisoner who has undergone troublesome prison life is set free again, the person who has always engaged in impious and mischievous activities is put into hellish conditions. And when he has undergone different hellish lives, namely those of lower animals like cats, dogs, and hogs, by the gradual process of evolution, he again comes back as a human being. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that even though a person engaged in a practice of the yoga system may not finish perfectly and may fall down for some reason or other, his next life as a human being is guaranteed. He stated that such a person who has fallen from the path of yoga practice is given a chance in the next life to take birth in a very rich family or in a very pious family. It is interpreted that rich family refers to a big mercantile family because generally people who engage in trades and mercantile business are very rich. One who engaged in the process of self-realization or connecting with the Supreme Absolute Truth but fell short is allowed to take birth in such a rich family, or he is allowed to take birth in the family of a pious Brahmanas. Either way, he is guaranteed to appear in human society in his next life. It can be concluded that if someone is not willing to enter into the hellish life, as in Tamishra or Andhatamishra, then he must take to the process of Krishna consciousness, which is the first class yoga system. Because even if one is unable to attain complete Krishna consciousness in this life, he is guaranteed at least to take his next birth in a human family. He cannot be sent into a hellish condition. Krishna consciousness is the purest life, and it protects all human beings from gliding down to hell to take birth in a family of dogs and hogs. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 30th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Descriptions by Lord Kapila of Adverse Fruitive Activities. Mama Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshormilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Namamo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pachyata Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So the whole description started how Lord Kapila is explaining about a powerful potency of the Lord, or Lord himself, as a time factor. Kalosme Saha Ananto Anandakarah Kalo Anadhir Adikad Avyayah Janam Janena Janayan Marayan Mrityuna Antakam. This Kala, the time, Kala force, the time factor of Supreme Personality Godhead is unlimited. Sa Anantaha and Antakarha Kala, Antakara, that it is destroys everything, it is endless, it destroys. Anadi, it is without beginning, And Adikrat is a creator. This eternal time factor has no beginning and no end. It is a representative of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It destroys everything in this world. I had said that how Marayan Mrityuna Antakam. Marayan Mrityuna Antakam. It destroys the even, it says, otherwise it dissolves the universe by destroying even the Lord of Death, Yamaraja. What to speak about insignificant living entities in this world. How insignificant these living entities? They are punished, chastised by Yamadharmaraj in different ways. And why they are doing all that? Because they are in the clutches of Kala, which is even divorce, even Yamadharmaraj. This, it dissolves the Kala, dissolves the universe by destroying even the Lord of Death. Everything will be removed. So, what is that Kala's force? What is that Kala is capable of doing? And how people living entities are getting affected here? That's what is mentioned. In this chapter, the descriptions by Lord Kapila of adverse fruitive activities. With today's text, we are concluding this chapter. It all started with how a person who is engaged in material consciousness does not know the powerful strength of the time factor by which he is being carried. When you don't know the power of the influence which is coming on you, you think that that is your nature. That is the way you're supposed to live. That is the way you're supposed to conduct your life. And when you come under the influence like that, what will happen? Whatever is produced by the materialistic is everything is going to give so much of pain. But in that situation also we keep searching pleasure in this world. That was mentioned. Whatever is produced by the materialist with a great pain and labor for so-called happiness, that will be destroyed by this time factor. And that is the reason they are called conditioned souls in this world. They are trying to acquire something, but in front of their eyes they are seeing that it is getting destroyed by Kala, but still they are not able to give up. Still they got conditioned to such kind of, no, I want, kind of this thing. That is the nature of this world. Then what will happen? He laments. Puman shochati yat krite. Sochati means he laments. Why it is happening to me like this? And why this? Why, first of all, why he get into such kind of situation? Because he consider he is a misguided materialist. He considered that himself is the body. And anything related to that body is as his. And he doesn't understand the temporal nature of the body, your family, your relatives connected with this. Because he's totally absorbed in that kind of consciousness, he's trying to own anything which belongs to him. And he tried to extract some kind of satisfaction in that. That was mentioned very systematically. This chapter explains how a materialist person behaves. What is the starting point? Starting point is identifying himself with the body and relating everything connected with the body. And how is psychology, how is mindset works. And how he suffers while he is living. And when body dwindles, what will happen to him at the old age? Only lamentation, only shoka. And after giving how, in what state of mind he gives up the body? And after giving up the body, what will happen to him? He will be pushed into various kinds of hellish platforms or hellish situations. He will be put into different cages, different hells, and he has to go through the punishments. And after the punishment, everything is over? No. He has to, whatever punishment he has gone through there, one is to give pain, and second is to prepare that Atma to go to accept such kind of pain even in the gross body. The training is happening there. Training is happening with the subtle body. The training happens with the gross body, you will not be able to bear. You will give up that. So training happening with subtle body, you have to bear the pain. There is no other option. And you will go through all that suffering, and not that ended now, oh, hell is over now. Now he will put it to the human body. No. The same kind of sufferings he has to go through by accepting gross body. But same kind of suffering cannot happen in one particular gross body. See, the kind of sinful reaction, sinful activities performed is a wide range. So wide range dishes has to be supplied. Because, like many times we heard that how Prabhupada said, if somebody is very attracted to, in one of the class Prabhupada was saying that, if somebody is very attracted to sex life, he will be given a monkey body where in a day 3 times, 4 times you can indulge in sex. Monkey body. Somebody is eating, somebody is addicted to eating all nonsense, all garbage. Then we will be bestowed with a pig's body. So like that. So now we are combination. We are not one pashu, no. We are a pashu, combination of pashus. We are. Animal instincts are there. Humans are given free will not to adopt from everything. To realize what is happening in all species, that is the reason. But human life, what is they trying to do? Why? May come kya? In what way I am lesser than pig? In what way I am lesser than dog? In what way I am lesser than share? Lion. So everything we are doing. Sometimes doubt will come, no? What is the mechanism? The 84 लाख योनि में घूमते रहना पड़ेगा बोलते हैं 84 लाख में क्यों घूमेगा? Karma Siddhanta is only meant for human. Law of karma is only meant for humans. Then how dog will become pig, pig will become whatever species? How it goes? In today's sloka that is mentioned. It says atastha naralokasya yavatir yatanadayaha. First of all, you have to go through all the pain in hell. Then all that punishment, yatanadeha, all the punishment. Then kramashaha samakramya. After that, again you have to go through. You will put into different species. In the gross body you will put in. All that punishments you have to go through again in this thing. Finally, punaha atra vrajet shushi. Again you will be brought into the human form of life. Again will be a chance will be given again to you. So that means all the punishment will go through. And finally, in the hell will go through in the subtle body. The again will pushed into, based on all that kind of vasanas we had to fulfill that with the gross body. So how dangerous you see to develop any thought other than Krishna, other than Krishna consciousness. We are just putting a symptom. If you get attracted to a dog, or whether you get attracted to a dog or get attracted to doggish kind of life, अंडरस्टूड? कुत्ते के प्रति आकर्षित हो या कुत्ते के जैसे गुण को आकर्षित हो जाए. Then we have to get into that kind of life. Whether is not only about akarshan, even vikarshan. You know what is akarshan opposite? So it is attraction as well as aversion. This world is duality, no? Raga and dvesha. If you wanted to be aloof from attachment and aversion, the only means, and you cannot be escaped, whether you like it or dislike it. Only two options are in this world. You cannot be samatulya. You cannot be equipoised. Impossible in this world. You cannot be equipoised. You like or you dislike. Certain aspect you may not be aware. That is called ignorance actually. And not that you don't like, you don't dislike. That means you are not aware about it in this world. Or you are not interested in the subject matter, that's all. Why you are not interested in subject matter? Because you are interested somewhere else. Your focus is somewhere else. Inclinations are somewhere else. So unless somebody become Krishna consciousness, he cannot become free from this attraction and aversion. Very difficult. So you see that anything what we grasp it. That's what Prabhupada says. If you develop so much of become against Pakistanis, and who knows, next life you will become Pakistani. Because your meditation, Pakistan. So that is the reason, wherever you are, however you are, Sthane sthiti suti gathavi manovirami said, wherever you are, however you are situated, you should think about the Lord. You should meditate on the Lord. You should glorify the Lord. The person who is not able to think about the Lord, then his mind is avyavasayanam. So many. If he is not engaged in Krishna consciousness, his buddhi, his intelligence is multifold. Or not multifold, is it? Bahushakayi anantacha. Bahushakayi. It diverts into too many branches. So that is the kind of situation. So a person has to go through kramasya shaman anukramya. Systematically, step by step. Because all these things, somebody is counted, no? That's what is told in the previous slokas. What is that? Daivena asaditam. Everything is by the arrangement of the Lord. Lord is Daivena, by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Asaditam, he will obtain that kind of position. Now, every impression what you are carrying in your mind is measured, and it will be reminded. Okay, even you wanted to enjoy, of course nobody wanted to suffer, but every enjoyment in this material world is associated with suffering. You will be thinking it is enjoyment. Okay, a pig is thinking that he is enjoying by eating stool. The impression is enjoyment only. But only a person who is situated in higher consciousness can feel that, but that is a kind of enjoyment. But you felt, a jiva felt, and as a reaction it is coming, the pig life or monkey life or any species for that matter is coming as a reactionary to the human thought. They are not independent species. Suddenly, कोई वैकुंठ से नीचे आ रहा है, तुरंत they have become monkey. तुरंत, immediately they have become this thing. It's a reactionary. That's the reason it is said that every soul comes to this world, it comes, first soul come here as a Brahma, it said. Brahma means like human form. Because what is that statement in Bible? Man is made in the image of God. Image of God. And this is a big confusion to the people also. God is four-handed form, Narayana. So how come we have two hands? Actually, original God has two hands. He is Vaibhava, expansion. He can have four hands. He can have unlimited hands. He has unlimited hands. In Vaikuntha, he is in four-handed form. So, human form is actually indicates that how Lord, because human form is actually an image of made from the Lord's form. So every soul come here with this thing. But why then all these lower species? This is a reactionary. How, when, it's very difficult to conceive, very difficult to assess. But the answers are given here. Everything is there. Kramashaha samanukramya. Everything is there, and all impressions are captured. We may have, just imagine, in one human form of life, how many thoughts we are accessing. And not that, so many impressions of previous lives also we are carrying. All that, each and every thought. That's what, you remember one of the class Mother Pranandru said, how many movies you watch, that many lives you have to take. How many impressions you carry in your mind, and based on that impression, if you get into that animal kingdom or lower species, that many species you have to go through. But every species have a unique identity. Every species has a unique identity. So everything started from there, identifying himself with the body. And once you get into that particular species, and especially in a lower species, very gross, and he tried to get as much as satisfaction from that particular body and mind system. And he finds very much satisfaction in that. Because he finds so much of satisfaction, he is not willing to give up that body at any cost. In that one of the purport, Prabhupada writes that Indra's story. Indra, when he came in the form of hog, pig, he's not willing to give up the body because he is feeling so much satisfied in that. Only a person who is situated in a higher consciousness can figure out what kind of miserable life it is. He is least interested to give up the body. So, such satisfaction actually coming from the deep-rooted attraction to the body and family. And when such kind of attraction is there, the deep-rooted attraction leads to what? That's what mentioned. Such kind of deep-rooted attraction, although he is always burning with anxiety, such fools always performs all kinds of mischievous activities. Mischievous, karoti aviratam mudo. Because there is so much of attraction and so much of the deep-rooted attraction to the body, home, children, animals, wealth and friends. And they engaged because of that. In spite of so much of anxieties they are going through, they engage, perform all kind of mischievous activities. Karoti aviratam muda. Always they perform such kind of activities. Duritani durashayaha. Duritani means they perform sinful activities. And all these things started from where? See, especially in human form body, starts from where? Of course, every species is designed in a same fashion for such matter. That's how many times said that if a human also doesn't realize, he doesn't act in a way, in a higher consciousness, with a higher intelligence, then why most of the time it's a human being also compared with the animal? Why? The animal instincts are same. What is that? He gives heart and senses to a woman who falsely charms him with Maya. Akshipta Atma Indriya Strinam Asitanam cha Mayaya. Asatinam cha Mayaya. Akshipta, charmed. Atma Indriyaha, he charmed by his in the heart or mind, and Indriya senses, he charmed by woman. Asatinam Mayaya, which is presented by a Maya, illusion. Then Raho Rachitayal Alapaihi Shishunam Kalabashinam. So that's how the whole family life starts. The once family life starts, then what will happen? Then Kota Dharma. Griheshu Kota Dharmeshu Dukkha Tantreshu Tandritaha. Then the family responsibilities. And to lead the family responsibilities, he has Kota Dharma, diplomacy, politics, diplomacy. A lot of difficulties he has to go through. And the whole life goes in what? Dukkha pratikaram. How to fight against the difficulties. So much of difficulties. He doesn't have a house. So to procure a house, you have to earn money. So your whole working hard is just what he doesn't have to have it. And by the time he has that, then he thinks that is a satisfaction. That's called Sukam, Sukavan, Mannete Grihi. He considers that is that now he achieved due to what? All these things are happening what? Ignorant about what is the real purpose of life, what is the goal of life. This is what is happening. Because of that, he's leading to hellish conditions. And then he explained that how a person goes through a lot of characters. All the character of a person who is very attached is described. He is very greedy. He wanted to have everything excessive in his life. Then further, he go through the old age. In the old age, how the same family whom he's worked very hard, and because he doesn't have anything, they don't give much value to him. So much of suffering. Psychological suffering actually, along with physical suffering. Then he go through the hellish condition. So that's how it's mentioned here that how human form of life is such a valuable life. We should not just allow it pass through by it. What is it? Time pass. Generally लोग है ना कालक्षेप करते time pass करते. One should not waste time like that, because time is very powerful factor. Very powerful factor. And Yamadharma Raja doesn't have any krupa. He just, because he's a monitor, what he can do? He's a ardent servant of Lord Krishna. He's just following whatever the rule. He doesn't spare anybody. Everything is monitored. Only one person he spares. Who is that? The one who takes the holy name of the Lord. However, whichever means, where attentively and intentively somebody takes the holy name of the Lord, then he doesn't come under the purview of Yamadharmaraj. But otherwise, he doesn't spare anybody. We all read that how he put a You put a rope around the neck and drags. You'll be treated like an animal. Why? Your life instincts or the activities you performed in the life is all like animalistic kind of activities. You do not behave like a human being. So you'll be treated like animal. You'll be dragged. So that's how it said that one should not waste time. Must not allow himself. जनरली टाइम पास बोलते हैं हम. टाइम पास मतलब क्या है? टाइम पास करके निकल रहा है. इट्स नॉट दैट वी आर पासिंग द टाइम. टाइम हमको पास करके आगे निकल रहा है. जस्ट पासिंग मीन्स व्हाट? हमको क्रश करके आगे निकल रहा है. टाइम इज डिस्ट्रॉयर. इज डिस्ट्रॉइंग आवर फॉर्च्यून. If you don't engage, if we are not engaged in Krishna consciousness activities, it is destroying the fortune what we got. What is the fortune? First of all, getting the human life itself is a great fortune. That fortune is going. Now, second thing is we all are devotees. We came, by Paramatma's blessings. We all got the shelter of a pure devotee. More fortune. So if we don't utilize it appropriately, that's what Prabhupada writes in this purport. If somebody perform yoga system, engage in yoga system, yoga brashtaha, even if he is not able to complete his purification, even though he is not able to achieve success completely, the next life again will be put into a mercantile family, a rich family, or Brahminical family, where at least to struggle for livelihood. To work hard for livelihood at least, like you can focus more on spiritual life. That is the whole intention of getting. But unfortunately, in this world, wealth, name, fame, all these things bring so much of anarthas further. So much of anarthas. To that degree, Prabhupada said how these Europeans, Americans, they are very rich, very intelligent, very beautiful, but all that wealth, how they are using? They are become drug addicts, they are become illicit sex, intoxication, we get rampant. Just like we drink water, they drink wine. They are like drinking wine is like water for them. Intoxication. Misusing. So, but all these things are given for a higher purpose. Our human body itself is given for a higher purpose. In that also, somebody is born in a rich family, somebody is born in a Brahminical family, is a different purpose altogether. So, one who engaged in the process of self-realization or connecting with the Supreme Absolute Truth, but fell short, is allowed to take birth in such a rich family. So, one should understand that somebody is born very rich. That means, he had some kind of dana dharmas, some kind of religious practices performed in the previous life. See, life doesn't happen episodically. Just like that doesn't happen. Like foolishly many people are thinking that, no, it is all, there is a very proper design is there behind this creation. Systematically things are placed. And how systematic it is? Kramashaha samanukramya punar atravarayich chushi. Systematically you have gone through so many species, finally you brought to human form of life. How many species you have gone through? Whatever impressions you carried. Whatever impressions we had. So it is very important for all of us to see that as much as possible we should be little aloof from this material entanglement. And that is possible only when we focus on spiritual aspects, One of the most important thing for especially for brahmacharis, brahmachari means the one who is getting trained under guru. Uh, Most important factor is what is it? Bhagavad Gita says sacrifice for brahmacharis is swadhyaya, reading scriptures. Reading scripture thoroughly we should keep. If there's a free time, we should indulge in hearing or reading, hearing and reading. Then what is non-free time is engagement in service of the Lord. Other than these two things, there should not be anything in devotee's life. Whether you are engaging physically, burning our passion, burning our interest, engage in service of the Lord, or you just engage in reading scriptures. And when you read scripture, you will get a lot of enthusiasm, energy. Will be bubbled with energy and enthusiasm to serve, because ultimately what scripture says, what Shastra says. Somebody reads scriptures, but you don't get inspired. You don't get inspired to act. Yes, that is also possible. That is possible. That's the way it happens. He is not reading the scriptures under the bona fide spiritual master. There's so many people, so many books are there, so many institutions are there. People are interested in reading also, at least Ramayana, Mahabharata. But the intuition is not coming, or they are not getting enthusiastic to serve. It will give some kind of mental satisfaction for them. And further it leads to so much of mental speculation, one speculation. That's what Prabhupada says, what is called? Philosophy without religion is a mental speculation. Without philosophy, without religion. Religion means practices, engagement. You read scriptures, so much of philosophy going, but you didn't engage. You don't act based on those instructions, injunctions. So philosophy without religion, knowledge without action, it just leads to mental speculation. And there are some people who they hold on to practices, religious practices, but is not supported by the knowledge or philosophy. It's called the manmari, sentiment. जो उनको अच्छा लगता है करता रहता है, but sentiment, emotional level में करता रहता है, sentiments. So one of the important principles is we have to hear scriptures, we should read scriptures under guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Then perfect learning will happen. Philosophy and practice both go together. Then understanding comes, realization comes. Sakshatkar आएगा. नहीं तो many people knows that there is a naraka, there is a hell, there is a punishment, and they are seeing their life itself is going kind of hellish condition, so much of trouble, so much of this thing, but still why they are not realizing why I am going through so much of struggle. They give this thing, that is the way life is all about. That's the way life has to be led. So what they are making? They are making a philosophy. Philosophy out of their life. So they are inventing philosophy. So this is called Baddhajivi. This is called conditional life. Conditional life means you are going through so much of frustration, so much of anxiety, but still you are accustomed to continue because of the attractions. It is happening because you don't have an access. So one of the important principles for all of us is that we have to read scriptures, we have to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Prabhupada writes in one of the purport, this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam should be read how many times? Thousands of times one should read. Thousands of times one should read this scripture. That means constantly we should read. We should keep reading. Reading should not become just one of the duty or kind of. The narrations of the pastimes of the Lord, which are always enacted on the transcendental platform, should be received with all respects by devotees. Those who are actually on the transcendental platform are never satiated by hearing the continuous narration of the pastimes of the Lord. If any self-realized soul reads from Bhagavad Gita, he will never feel satiated. If any self-realized person reads from Bhagavad Gita, he will never feel satiated. The narrations of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam may be read thousands and thousands of times, and still without fail, new aspects of the subject matter will be relished by the devotee. The pull comes to read and read. The pull comes from that very subject itself. Still even maybe read thousands and thousands of times, and still without fail, new aspects of subject matter will be relished by the devotee. It will be relished by the devotee. He will be able to find newer and newer taste in it. So then we will be able to understand the realistic situation of this life, so that one day we can get out of this world. One day we can get out of this cycle of kramashaha, samanukramya, punar. Again we come to human body. Actually these things starting from human body, gone through all miserable life in the human life, then gone to hell, then after coming back from the hell, don't think that after coming back from the hell directly you are coming to human life. You are going through many species in systematically. Finally punar. Finally punar atraha. Finally you are going to come on this earth, you are going to come in the human form of life. You see, cycle keep going on. We don't know if we gives up this human form of life now. We don't know. We think that next life again we may get. No guarantee next life will become human. 100% will become human, because that is the mercy of the Lord. Lord ensure one day will come to, because Lord doesn't want us to suffer here eternally. Lord wants us to take us back. Time to time He will bring us to human form of life, but not so easily. Not that He is sending us to lower species. We desire to go to that kind of status. So we have to take up Krishna consciousness very seriously. As Prabhupada says here, that he cannot be sent into a hellish condition. The one who is practicing Krishna consciousness, if he is unable to attain complete Krishna consciousness in this life, is guaranteed at least to take in the next life, next birth in a human family. Only those people can come directly to human form of life. Who? Devotees who is practicing dharma, is following some principles of dharma, especially in dharma, Krishna consciousness, they are guaranteed to come to human form of life. Otherwise, if they are conditioned souls or addiction for sense gratification, they have to go through all different kind of species. Hence, Krishna consciousness is the purest life, and it protects all human beings from gliding down to hell to take birth in a family of dogs or hogs. Very clearly establishes how this evolution happens. Soul going to different species. We'll stop here. Any question and discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. People know the knowledge, but they lack in vairagya, like jnana vairagya. Why? Because we tell people, sab jante hai Prabhuji, but vairagya is not coming. Why?
That's what. Vairagya comes only, even that knowledge is also actually not knowledge. The knowledge, the basic information they are getting, that's all. The vairagya and knowledge, actual knowledge and vairagya culminates only one engages in the dharma, religious principles. And highest of all the religious principles is bhakti. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti yoga prayojitaha. Janeti asho vairagyam. Jnani cha ayitakam. Jnana and vairagya is the byproducts of bhakti. Now your question is, they already have jnana, why vairagya is not coming? They don't have jnana. They only have some information about it. A real jnana also culminates when you only see. Jnana means what? You should be able to absorb it. No, just awareness is not just complete jnana. That is the initial phase of jnana. Initial phase of jnana. What is the next level of jnana? Experience. Say jnana is, oh, fire burns, is a jnana. But sometime inquisitiveness will be there. Really it burns? Let me see. Then you'll get realized jnana. Oh, it burns. So people more or less than the very initial stage, they hear little bit here and there, they hear. And very fortunate, not that everybody has, only few people who are, dharmic, they have that. But still they don't have vairagya because they don't, that knowledge is not culminating in them. So for that they have to adopt some principles of dharma in their life. Krishna consciousness is the highest. Sarvadharman pratyajya mamekam sharanam vraja. That is the highest among all dharmas. But at least some dharmic principles. Sanatana dharma, some dharmic principles. And dharmic principles are what? On 4 pillars. Satya, the truthfulness. Ahimsa, the 4 legs. So some of the principles they adopt in their life, and to that degree they will be have vairagya. To that degree they will have vairagya. When it talks about devotee, full vairagya means what? Giving up the whole family life, all these things. That is not practical. That is sarvadharma, but very rarely people have it. Samatmaha sudarlabha. Because he is taking shelter of Daivi Prakriti. Daivi Prakriti. That is very rare. That such kind of Mahatmas are who are taking shelter of, Lord is very rare. But in ordinary course also, people who adopt some principles of dharma, they'll be, to a certain degree, they'll be able to observe, they'll develop vairagya, all is possible. Stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki.